We up? We're up. Hi. Today, I want to cover my 5 guidelines for how I use AI in my business. Always nonstop conversation about this. I hope it's helpful. And there's also going to be a couple of bonus tips at the end, probably 2, maybe 3. But first, hi. My name is Wayne Pelletier. I own the Resonant Pixel Company, and we make Squarespace websites. Let's not get things out of hand here, but really, we help businesses level up their credibility with the Credibility Playbook. You can learn more at resonantpixel.co. Now, that's out of the way. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow for updates. I have probably 5 things to mention in the struggle bus segment at the end here. So strap in. We're going to have fun today because this is a topic I really like. I'm here in 2025. It's February 21st. We're in the early goings here of the year. And AI, and more specifically LLMs, just feel like a bit of a moving target, like the entire marketplace. And I don't have any recommendations specific to any particular app. I've used all of the popular apps, and I have thoughts. I definitely have thoughts. If you've watched even 30 seconds of any of my live shows, you know I have thoughts. But here, with this type of thing, I like to think about principles. I like to think about guidelines and guardrails that I want to use to help me make better choices and decisions. To me, it matters because we have ethical guidelines we want to try and follow, certainly with regards to communicating with other people and managing and running a business and the broader internet community at large. And when using tech like this, I think it just helps me get better and not necessarily be tool specific, but be better at managing the tech in general, sort of app agnostic type of thing. So tip number 1, treat AI like a junior colleague, right? Like an intern. Approach it with the mindset. That's what I do. I approach it with the mindset of working alongside a very eager intern. And if you've ever used an LLM, you know they can be pretty eager to help. This perspective, it helps encourage more productive and interactive relationship with the app as I learn to navigate its biases, its quality control issues, and or its other challenges with regard to the UI or something like that. So treating it and thinking about it as an intern and kind of departmentalizing, like what's a general business section or of series of prompts, and then who's my content strategist, and maybe who's my social media strategist, or who's a general copywriter or copy strategist and brand strategist. Like, think about an intern, and normally you wouldn't title an internship with strategist or director of anything. But since the output quality can vary dramatically, I like to think about finding holes. Like, what's the great omission in these thoughts? Like in the bullets, when outlining this episode, I had 10 thoughts, and the app, my app GetNoan was like, hey, there's some redundancy here, and don't maybe forget to mention this one thing. That's not how the app said it. It was far more encouraging. But in general, that's sort of the kind of thing I'm talking about there. So number 2, engage it actively. I think especially when you're first getting started with any kind of chatbot or LLM, it's like, I asked it, I didn't like the answers, and you bailed. But just asking something and walking away doesn't help me get better. And it certainly doesn't improve, especially if you're in a contextual environment like a project or a custom GPT or something. It doesn't help the app contextualize working with you either. So Don't just set them and walk away or ask something and walk away. Stay involved with that prompt, with that request, and provide it feedback. Tell the app what you think of the response. Tell the app how it can be better at responding to. But also this ongoing, like with any prompt, that ongoing dialogue helps improve the quality of the outcomes. It really does. So number 2 is absolutely engage actively. Number 3 is to leverage AI's evolving capabilities. I recognize that I am a passionate early adopter on the business curve of customer adoption. I am way out front. I'm sympathetic that not everyone is, but leveraging the new features can go a long way to improving the quality of the outcomes. So leveraging the application's strengths will help, and of any application will help you take advantage of and control the quality of the outputs that you're putting into it or that you're getting out of it based on your prompts, right? So I like to say with this, and this is, trite, sure, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get to know the app, get to know the new features, maybe stay on top of new features. I like to follow a couple of newsletters that are like, hey, just so you know, this is what's budding and what's coming out soon with these type of things, or here's what just launched, and keeping up with the news around features and following other people who are on top of that helps me stay on top of not just the features, but how they're being used and how I can think about ways that I can use them in my business. So, number 4, embracing flexibility in prompting. You can go buy prompt packs, I'm sure, on Etsy and on marketplaces all over the place. And that's fine. They may or may not work for you. Eventually, you're going to need to make them your own because your context and your business are just different. They're you. Now, I recognize that there are unique strengths of each platform. And I recognize that how do I want to say this? I want to say that each application has a different way of structuring and building on context. So it's sort of like allowing the app to have the creative freedom to respond, to surprise and delight you, has value. So yes, you can put in an 800-word prompt and tell it exactly what you want. And it may or may not, depend upon what you're asking, be the right response. But sometimes starting with a vague response, right? And then leaning into the third value here, the third guideline, can go a long way to adding or building upon the idea that you were going into it to create responses or conceptualize or build on creatively some aspect of content or strategy. So sometimes I start with a simple prompt. Sometimes I start with an extremely detailed prompt and then ask it what I missed in either regard. Can go a long way. Also, if you've written something, right? So flexibility in prompting doesn't necessarily always mean prompting. It could be that, like, I've written something in the past and I've got some, long text document that expands on the idea. You can share that document or share the contents of that document. Because one thing that these AI apps are really, really good at is summarizing, right? Reductively, they're strong. So sometimes that's the best way to get started, and then start picking holes in what it is or figuring out how to broaden the idea or narrow the idea based on whatever outcome you're looking for. I know that's vague. I don't have actual examples here, but these are guidelines, right? So now I'm on number 5. This one's going to surprise you. It surprises me, but the more I exercise communicating naturally, the better my response is, and the better my relationship with how I'm improving at using these tools. I don't know if you're like me. Probably somewhat like me here. I speak very differently than I type. When I type, I tend to think technically, and my empathy engine is just going. Not that it isn't when I'm speaking, but for some reason, it's a different communication mind frame entirely. I just speak differently than I type. So typing can get us certain results, but speaking can get us oftentimes better results, because natural conversational inputs and prompts can produce better results than structured commands. I think that's why we're seeing so many voice and call buttons inside of these apps. The app I use, Kin, for some of my personal journaling stuff, wants you to hit the button and just talk to it, right? Have earbuds in or pick it up like a phone call. Pi.ai is doing that. And I know ChatGPT and Claude and some of the other popular ones have voice input now. I wonder if that's going to expand, and I'm not here to pontificate on future features in any of these apps. I'm just saying that conversational language has been netting better results, so it's something I'm leaning into more. I just don't know where the break point is. I don't run a call center. I'm not a call center professional. I imagine someone that works at a call center, and I realize this is a bad analogy, may spend 6 hours, 8 hours a day on the phone talking to people. I would probably pass out, even though I'm an extrovert, with that much talking. So I'm not going to sit here at my desk and talk to AI, talk to you, talk to my family, talk to customers all stinking day. That also does not seem like a recipe for success. I don't know where that break point is. I haven't thought about managing my schedule and trying to time block certain aspects of it, because the interactivity with AI, whether it is in fulfillment of the work of the business or in running the business or in building out strategies and content for the business, they do happen in certain time blocks, but they're not aligned for me talking the entire time. So I'm not saying I know what that looks like, but it's in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm getting better results communicating naturally using voice. What does that look like? Am I going to be yapping all day? I don't like that idea. So speaking of which, how about a dram? All right, look, I said I have a couple of bonuses, and I do. Bonus number one, always fact check the results. It has been good. It has worked for me to leverage these apps against one another, have one ideate, have one proof, have one edit, or back and forth like, hey, here are my thoughts on this, after you pull it out of ChatGPT and put it into Claude, or pull it out of GetNoan and pop it into Claude or ChatGPT or Kin and say, hey, check this for omissions, check this for, hallucinations. These AI apps all hallucinate. You got to remember that the snake is eating its tail here. It's a downward quality spiral. It indexed a bunch of garbage from Reddit. It indexed a bunch of trash from fake SEO websites, and they're obviously doing what they can to make as much of that content real. But there's plenty of not real stuff. So hallucinations happen. I don't know if you've ever asked for a recipe and it said, put something in it they do, absolutely not. That doesn't just happen with recipes. Strategic information and content that is, related to our industry, our market, or the industry and market of our customers and clients, that's harder to fact check. So asking more prompts, kind of like, tip number 2, my guideline number 2, which is engage actively. Keep those threads going long, which you Claude users, I know Claude doesn't like long threads. It gets really mad at you and says, okay, you're done for the day. You've overprompted. I know that sucks. I hate that for you. It's why I don't use that app all the time anymore. It's great, generatively, probably the best. Maybe that contributes to their lack of interest in letting you just freeform use it as much as you want. But anyway, fact check. Always check the results. AI is fast. That doesn't mean it's good. What's the old, you can have fast, good, and cheap? Well, they're definitely, for the most part, cheap. They're definitely fast. So the good part's the one that's missing, right? All right. The next bonus, pay for premium. I know. I don't mean for that to be exclusionary in any way for anyone, but look, trafficking context gets old very fast. So if you want to engage more actively and really treat these, GPTs and custom projects and AI LLMs like an intern over time is going to get to know you. It's going to get to know your voice and tone, your expectations, and it's going to get to know your business, what you do, and how you work. So are the LLMs. And by going premium, basically what you're paying for is time and frustration and not having to continually traffic context back and forth between the apps, between prompts, between projects. Okay, so fortunately, most of the apps are pretty affordable, like $20 a month as of this recording. We'll see if that sticks on. I'm using, and I mentioned it a minute ago, I've mentioned it on previous episodes, I'm using GetNoan, N-O-A-N is how they're spelling known. I'll put a link. It'll be an affiliate link. Oh, you bet you. But there'll be a link down in the description here in a little bit once this is published as a static video. Here's why I'm using GetNoan. I got really frustrated with trafficking context, even inside of projects, inside of Claude, or in custom GPTs, inside of ChatGPT. It just constantly telling it, that's not how I would do that, or that's not what my business does. You know this. And then if you've ever told ChatGPT that is crazy, and then it's like, oh, you're right. I got that wrong. My apologies. Okay. You can only do that so many times before you're like, what is going on here? What I like about GetNoan is context is always being leveraged by the bot, right? So it knows about the business and knows about your offerings, and it knows about your brand, your voice, and your tone, and what you're trying to achieve. And it is also aware of all of your initiatives. My instance of GetNoan, it knows about this show, YouTube live show. It knows about my blogs. It knows about my speaking engagements. It knows about my social media strategies. And it's able to give me more accurate prompts or results from my prompts and more accurate strategic feedback when I ask it harder questions about what I should or shouldn't be creating, or what's the value of something. Like, those open-ended questions are hard. For the free version, almost impossible. For paid versions in LLMs, it can be a challenge. They're getting better, and the better you are building a custom GPT or a project inside of, say, ChatGPT and Claude, and I know there are others out there, maybe using Perplexity or one of those aggregate tools. That's all fine. I just am really enjoying it. It's pricier, but I do know that they have an offer right now for like testing it out, so a trial offer. So I don't know if that's going to stay forever. I'm going to regret saying that in this video, but here we are. And also, their YouTube channel and some of their videos, like their workshop videos, are really pretty good. And the app does a lot, so I'm enjoying it. Anyway, that's all my AI guidelines. All 5. Treat AI like a junior colleague. Engage it actively. Leverage AI's evolving capabilities and features. Embrace flexibility in prompting. Don't always be heavy prompter or light prompter. Learn how to get better at contextualizing that for yourself. And then Man, I say that word a lot. Number 5, communicate with it naturally. Always fact check is the bonus, and pay for premiums is the second bonus tip or guideline, I guess is what I was calling those. I'm going to bang on the struggle bus segment next because I think AI segment was covered. I did nothing on Squarespace in this, but like I said in Wednesday's episode, the last episode, do manage the brand settings in the settings area of the website if you're going to use the AI content generator inside of there, because you'll find that it is way more accurate. All right, struggle bus segment. Imagine some sort of graphic going by that I've not prioritized making. I gotta level with you. I did not feel good about the last episode. I felt like my thoughts were disorganized. I went into it organized. I think I let myself get a little passionate. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not. I didn't feel good about it, but I feel grateful. I feel good about not feeling good about it, if that makes any sense, because I learned a ton. I learned that I don't want to feel that way. I learned how to reorganize my notes before recording. I've updated inside of Apple Notes my system for getting my notes together here. It really energized me to think about how can I do this better. And I said going in, I want to get I think I initially said 5% better every show. And I think for the most part, maybe it's been 2% sometimes and 10% others, but I think that has largely happened. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you're here. I don't know how many minutes in we are, probably 20 minutes, that you're here watching this. You certainly don't have to be. Some other changes. Yeah, I've changed my input notes to do a better job of organizing my thoughts. So I'm not just sitting here mansplaining, which I hate that I feel like that I am prone to that sometimes. Maybe that'll be more of a get on the couch episode. And you notice I'm sitting. I'm in my spinny chair. I'm sitting. I was standing for the first, 8 or 9 episodes. And doing this gives me a lot of energy. I'm like shot out of a cannon after I record this. Like I said, extrovert. And if I feel like I've done a foot long of coke, boy, running around here after and having stood the whole time, just like exhaustion come lunch. So I am going to sit and try to do a better job of managing my energy. Another thing I've learned from doing this, managing my energy, managing my breath, managing my notes on the input. I've paid for Ecamm now. I got a nice crisp screen. I even got my logo. Where is it? It's on this side. Woo. So cool. We're growing. We're getting better. So yeah, struggle bus segment. But in struggle, that's how we get better, right? So what is it? I host local events here in town. I'm on the board for business association here in the city I live in, and the mayor spoke, and someone that was one of the mayor's guests in attendance was like the county chief. He was high up in the police department for the county sheriff's office. And he said something that I'd heard in the past before, but maybe had forgotten or maybe not thought enough about, or maybe it just hadn't hit home yet. He said something that really stuck with me that I want to try to bring with me here for a few more days and put some deep thought in it. Maybe I'll chat with the Kin app about it. Experience is a positive way of spinning our mistakes. Pretty cool thought idea, right? Like the whole concept being, I have a ton of experience, not because I was successful. I have a ton of experience because I made a ton of mistakes along the way. And now I know how to avoid those mistakes most of the time. So in doing this the way I've been doing it, getting a little bit better each day. My hope is that that compounds. And then one day I just got a banging YouTube channel. I don't know. And maybe I'm bringing some value. Maybe these 5 plus 2 bonus, my 7 guidelines today are helpful for you. If they are, please leave a comment and like, subscribe, follow, update. One thing I know I screwed up for this episode is I had not queued this live episode as upcoming. So now I have a calendar item to go and batch build out future episodes, because you can't schedule them dynamically or have any kind of recurring setting. You literally have to build each episode manually, one at a time, into the future. Total pain in the butt. More time blocking. Joy. Anyway, thanks for watching. We made it 26 minutes. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully this was helpful. You can always DM me. Hit the link if you want to check out GetNoan. I would certainly appreciate it. I don't know, probably gets me a few cents. Who knows? But that's not really the point, is it? The point is to get better. Anyway, peace.